at the lodge this week, I thought I'd take Handyman Corner and show you how you can prevent your car from aging, weathering, rusting, and generally looking filthy all the time by showing you how to build a self-contained automatic power washer that'll keep your car continuously clean. All right, now the first thing you're gonna need to make this unit are some sprinklers. I would recommend you use sprinklers. And you know, you can get sprinklers pretty cheap from your neighbor's lawn while they're in bed. Now what you want to do is to mount these various sprinklers right onto the vehicle. You can use rivets for that, or you can weld them on there. Or if you work for the government, you probably have time to sit and magnetize them. But I'm going to use the Handyman secret weapon, duct tape. Now you're going to need a source of water, one that moves along with the car, because this is a mobile wash, isn't it? And you know, we have a source just like that right here. The water pump and radiator. Now, if we could just think of a way to tap into them. There we go. All right, let's give our mobile car wash a try. All right, see, okay. We don't have an unlimited supply of water here. You didn't think of that, did you? You know, so what we have to do is we have to, of course, recycle the water in the system by recycling it. And here's what you have to do to solve that one. You gotta measure the exact perimeter of the whole car, and then you get exactly that same length in eavesdropping. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Perfect. Real glad I didn't use rivets or bolts when I put this up last year. Now we'll get this down and we'll hook this all up to the car, right around the whole outside of her, using rivets or bolts, or, that's right, nothing lasts forever except an Italian wedding. Now, this might take me a while to get her all down and hooked up, so why don't we get back to the show and I'll come and find you when I got her all done. You know, with Stinky Peterson, a girlfriend, getting the car stuck, kind of struck a nerve because there was nothing more embarrassing for a guy than to have his vehicle immobilized. Well, there is one thing more embarrassing, but they tell me that's just a normal part of getting older. So I thought I'd take this week's Handyman Corner and show you how you can make your car less vulnerable to sinkholes, mudslides, avalanches, and quicksand. To be able to go where angels fear to tread, you need one hell of a tread, a tank tread. Here's an idea so simple you wonder why you never thought of it. I'm going to show you how to turn your car into a tank. All right, first thing you're going to need is a roll of snow fence, some tin snips, a normal metal tin box, and an axe. Step 1, you want to cut the emergency brake cables on the left side of the vehicle. There we go. All right, now the emergency brake is only going to work the wheels on the right side of the car, so what we got to do now is disconnect the brake lines from the right side of the car, and then when you step on the brake pedal, it'll only work the wheels on the left side of the car.
I don't understand this part, and it's a very bad sign.
All right, now to do that, you're going to need a 7/16 wrench. No, that's a 1/2 inch. Yeah, there we go. All right, you disconnect them right down to the wheel cylinder. Boy, these babies are really on there. Rust clumps the size of horse buns. Okay. I don't know why I'm being so finicky here. I mean, the goal is just to disconnect the brake lines. Nobody says we have to unscrew them off there. All right. Now, you gotta have room for the tank tread to move freely around the car. So what you gotta do is you gotta cut off the front half of the front fender and the back half of the back fender. And you can do that with, well, just an ordinary hacksaw. I'll tell you, They haven't invented the car that I can't customize. There we go. Now, you're ready for your tank tread. And for that, you're going to need a tank tread, which you can buy through an Army surplus magazine, or you could make one out of an escalator. But if you're not made of money, I suggest you just go with a snow fence. Now, the snow fence is twice as wide as you need, so you're going to need to cut her in half, which you can do with a normal household hacksaw. Or an axe. Oh, okay, see the problem here? I'm surprised you didn't think of this earlier. We need something to use as guides to keep the tread up above the roof here. Maybe there's something in the trunk. Let's take a look down here. Oh, won't have to go to all that trouble, do I? Nah, it's an old set of golf clubs. Wait a minute. I got an idea. I always said my ideas are way above par. Well, she's ready to roll, huh? When I want to turn left, I just step on the brake pedal. When I want to turn right, I step on the emergency. I don't even need a map of where I'm going. All I need is the coordinates. So remember, if women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Let's see how she handles. You know, with all the cars getting stolen up at the lodge, thought I'd take this week's Handyman Corner, show you how you can make your car burglar-proof. Now, you're probably thinking the best way to do that is to have a car that's not worth stealing. I'll tell you something, that doesn't always work, because to a burglar, fourth-class riding is better than first-class walking. So I think you're better off to go with a multi-stage anti-theft program. And the first stage of that is the door handle itself, all right? You want to make that unfriendly. You know what I suggest? You wire her up like I have here to the cigarette lighter. Now you plug that in, and within a couple of minutes, that door handle gets blazing hot. Okay? This not only makes the burglar upset, it enables the cops to catch him red-handed. Okay, next thing you want to do for the next stage is you want to disable your steering wheel somehow. So what you do is get yourself a crutch. You can pick one of these up for free at the waiting room at the gout clinic when nobody's watching. All right? You just got to hook this up the steering wheel. Here, I'll show you how. All right, now you want to mount the crutch in there so it comes right down between the driver's legs. That way, when the burglar does a quick left-hand turn, you'll have to pull over for medical attention. And here's another little feature. I've run my rad hose up inside the car, got the rad cap on there, but when I leave the car, I take the cap with me. That way, when the burglar starts her up, steam goes all over him. Instant sauna. All right. All right, now, we got another feature to show you here in a minute. Okay. You know, you want to figure out some way to impede the rotation of the tires. Now, I would think about maybe letting the air out all of them, but you know, that's inconvenient. So instead, I say what you do is take a nut off each wheel on one side, but not just any nuts. Make sure it's the two nuts that are closest together. So in other words, the farthest one back on the front wheel and the farthest one forward on the back wheel. Here, I'll show you. That was my back. All right, there we go. Now, you're gonna need a piece of chain for this, which you can pork off the back of a tow truck while the guy's in the donut shop working on his waistline. See how I've mounted these to the nuts that are closest to each other and so on? That way, when the burglar tries to move the car, the wheels are gonna lock up. All right, let's go to stage 5, anchors. See how this works here? Jam these anchors well into the ground here. We've attached one to the back bumper and one to the front bumper. All right, now we're ready for the final stage, noise creation. More or less especially for lodge members. Now for this, you're gonna need some of this special wire they use to ring the bell at gas stations, but you don't have to buy this stuff. I mean, most of the stations leave it out all night. So all you gotta do is cruise by with a pair of wire cutters, let nature take its course. All right, you wanna strip off the one end of the wires. You wanna connect these to your horn relay, but make sure you connect the right wires to the right terminals. No. Oh gosh, that's not even the horn relay. Here we go. Boy, that is loud, isn't it? Great acoustics under there. Anybody say anything? No? Okay. Then you spread that hose out where the burglar will be sure to step on it. And there you have your anti-theft car. Isn't that great? So remember, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Oh boy, I was supposed to pick Bernice up about an hour ago. There you go. Blown a gasket, and you're about to do the same. If you're looking at a tow truck charge, it's going to be more than the darn vehicle's worth. So I thought this week on Handyman Corner, I'd show you a way to avoid those endless tow truck charges. Basically now, you got two choices. One, well, you could build your own tow truck, but otherwise you could take better care of your vehicle, get that maintenance done on a regular basis. All right, here's how to build your own tow truck. First thing you need is a boat trailer. If you don't have a boat trailer, just go down to your local marina and you can pick one up cheap. Or if you're really on a budget, go down to your local boat ramp and just pick one up. All right, next thing you need is a truck. Unfortunately, my truck is the van. So I bought this car here off Buster Hatfield. Gave him $100 for it, and I know that's a lot to pay for a car, but I wanted something that would last. So now I'm gonna make a tow truck. Well, I should say a tow car. All right, what you wanna do is lift the tongue of the trailer up high enough, get the back end under there. And you want to get it a long way in, otherwise it could be dangerous. Okay, now you want to attach that to the back of the car as firmly as possible. And those of you who've seen the show before know what I'm going to say next. It's almost like we're married. All right, that's got her. Now what you do is you take your cable off the winch there, and you take that down. Hook her right onto your vehicle. It needs to be towed. And then you just winch the trailer down so the hitch sits right onto the ball. All right. And that's got her. All right, just clip her down here. And guys, if you have a 2-inch hitch, use a 2-inch ball, not a 1 7/8. Okay, you got a ton of metal up in the air, held together to your car with duct tape. Let's not be stupid. Same thing with the safety chains. Not something you use a whole lot, but you know, if you're ever gonna use them, this might just be the time. Now I just gotta add some weight to my tow truck, and we're done. Hi. Oh, this should do it. And that's got her. So remember, the women don't find you handsome. They should at least find you handy. And now, if you'll excuse me, I really must be towing. A few things in his life that he knows he should do, but he never quite gets around to. Now, maybe for you, it's paying your taxes or visiting a relative or getting those empty beer bottles out of the sink. For me, it's cleaning out my car. I try to do it once every year. It's been a pretty good year. All right, now this is a situation that often faces the handyman. Do you just press on with a hopeless cause, or do you try to come up with some creative way to do the job better? Or do you just go for a nap? Well, I'm going to come up with a better way to do this, because I can't be sleeping on my television show. That's your job. All right, I'm thinking what we got to do is get the roof off of there, and I want to do it with as little effort as possible. I have a reputation to consider. Okay, now I need to add a couple of steel channels on the side. Here again, innovation is the key. Don't know quite what I'm looking for, but I'm sure I'll recognize it when I see it. Life is a smorgasbord. Now, I know I'm not going to find exactly what I want, so I'm going to have to adapt. I need a couple of channels, you know, sort of like eaves troughs, so there's got to be something here that's sort of like an eaves trough, or something I could make into something like an eaves trough. Okay, took a little extra time and a little extra imagination, but we now have the perfect way to clean out your car. Don't have to do any bending, you don't need a vacuum, and it won't kill a whole afternoon. So remember, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Oh, were you wondering how that car cleaning thing works? I'll give you 3 guesses. Are like me, that when you were a kid, well, you just dreamed about driving a dump truck, didn't you? Eh? A lot of you guys, as you got older, you had to abandon your childhood dreams, and the rest of you are bachelors. So I thought, as a public service this week, I would show you how to turn an ordinary car into a dump truck. This car actually has 2 things that make it the perfect dump truck: front-wheel drive and absolutely no resale value. I'll explain about the front-wheel drive in a minute, but first of all, I got to customize the body a little bit. Here's the beauty of the creative process. I need something to use as a divider between the driver and the load that I'll be dumping. Now, I'm not just going to head down to the auto supply store with a checkbook, because the bank manager warned me about doing that again. No, I'm going to search for something that we can use out of our existing inventory. Like, say, this perfectly good trunk lid. All right, well, you know, you want to wear the welding goggles when you're doing that kind of work. Bernice must have put mine somewhere where I can't find them. She doesn't like me welding ever since we lost the garage. Anyway, now we're ready to actually install the dumping mechanism. And for that, you got to put some stuff on the front wheels. Get yourself a couple extra rims like this, and then you want to attach some heavy pipe in a crisscross on the outside edge. Just weld that on there, too. Sure wish I had those goggles. See now, these special wheels, once I line them up with a couple of step ladders, they become my dumping mechanism. Because when I throw her in drive, special wheels line the ladder, see? That's why the car had to be front-wheel drive. I know what you're thinking. Remember, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Now, if you'll excuse me, it's time to dump. A lot of toy companies have done real well by taking things from the real world and then scaling them down, like cars or people. Boy, did he ever get scaled down. Whenever I see success, I try to do the exact opposite. So I'm taking toys and scaling them up for the real world. For example, I'm working on a new way to climb downstairs using a coil of 1/2-inch copper tubing. And I'm biggie-sizing this Nerf rocket as my design for an affordable satellite launching system. I just need to build a size 9,000 shoe full of concrete. But my ultimate project is to design an energy-efficient vehicle that will take 10 feet of backwards motion and turn it into a mile of forward motion. Okay, step 1 is to get yourself all the parts that you're gonna need. Like, for example, well, you're gonna need a vehicle of some kind, and then you're gonna need... Well, I'm gonna have to take this apart to see how it works. Just, Okay, I'm gonna actually need the greatest handyman tool of all, socialized medicine. The doctor wanted to x-ray my hand, so I put the toy truck in the machine at the same time. And I noticed that there's an elastic tube running around the axle, so I had to get something big and stretchy. Not as easy as it used to be. I went with these jumbo tire inner tubes. You can get these pretty cheap. Just look for an abandoned truck with a flat. I added an extra rim back here so I'd have something to attach the elastic to, and because it looks sharp. Don't spare the duct tape on this job. You don't want to be smacked by this baby. It'll make that wet towel in the boys' locker room feel like a love tap. Which I hope it wasn't. Now we just back up, say 10 feet or so, and then zoom down the highway without any energy required. You heard of hybrid gas electrics? This is a hybrid gas elastic. Now you just put her in neutral. I needed a way to let the elastic slip off when it gets to the end, so I welded a bathtub water spout onto the rim on a bit of an angle here, and then I attached a shower ring to the end of my elastic. Now when I back up, it'll hold, but when I go forward and it's slack, it'll just slide off. And it's just that easy. The farther you want to go forwards, the farther you go backwards. And speaking of marriage, remember, if women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Choosing the right parking spot is a fine art, isn't it? Oh, I know they teach fine art in university, but this is the kind you can actually use. Now, the main item you're looking for here is shade. It's important to keep your car as cool as possible, especially if you have vinyl seats. Even more so if you have black vinyl seats and you're wearing a bathing suit, because skin grafts can be very expensive. But you know, you can't always find a spot under a tree. So today I'm going to show you how to protect your vehicle with something I like to call portable shade. Okay, we're going to start with a couple of these retractable tape measures. Oh, I know what you're thinking. Hey, if this involves accurate measurement, count me out. Accurate measurement. I'm going to have to remember that one. No. We're actually going to use these as simple mounting units. What you want to do is to mount your tape measures onto your vehicle just above and in front of the hood. And you can use whatever fastening device best suits the look and style of your car. Okay, now I've attached a couple of old drapery rods to the top of the tape measures. I like using them because they're flexible, but they're stiff enough to stay an inch or so above the body of the car. See, that allows for airflow. When you get to my age, airflow is crucial. By the way, don't let your wife catch you doing this with her brand new drapery rods, or it'll be curtains for you. Huh? Okay, now we attach the other end of the drapery rods to this luggage rack. If you don't have a luggage rack, you can take one off of any British car. They use them to carry bicycles around because their cars are so useless. You really got to have a backup plan. Okay, now all we need is our shade. Now you could go with cloth drapes or sheet metal or one of Moose Thompson's nightshirts, but I prefer to use something waterproof and less expensive. That's right, shower curtains. I had to trim these babies off a little bit because they were too long for the width of the car. And I added ring holes to the bottom edge there so that both sides of the curtain will be drawn up evenly over the car. I guess you could call this vehicle Ford of the Rings. Okay, now to automate the unit, well, that's where my tape measures come back into play. I pull out the tape on both sides, then attach the ends of the tapes to the front edge of my curtain. And all I gotta do is lock the recoil switch on each of them, and we're ready for a road test. cares about the sun? Because now when I park and pull on the hood release, I got it made in the shade. So remember, the women don't find you handsome. They should at least find you Oh yeah, one more thing. If you want to protect your doors as well, go back to the tub, get the bath mat out of there. Not only great protection from the sun, but also from those idiots who ding you when they park too close.